So let's start studying the month of May for Bitcoin. Okay, so I have plenty of things to show you. Don't know where to start really. First, I'm going to show you one thing that I had not showed you last time because I had hidden that column here, which is the north node, the true north node. So just so you know, in my monthly, I typically use the true node. That's what I used to do. But then I started hiding it because I didn't see the importance in Bitcoin's chart itself. But it was a mistake because the true node is actually very important. So we have the true node is in the monthly that is showing, but I added, you see here, I added the mean node. There is no measure, like no degree attached to it because it's not in the chart. But I calculated it, I know it's here. So, the true node is at the moment squaring Neptune in Bitcoin's chart. So there's several ways to look at the nodes. Of course, there's the true and the mean node. Any astrologer knows it's a big problem among astrologers because some people say the true node is better, mean node is better. Anyway, now I'm trying to observe and see what's going on, and I believe the true node is actually more important in the sky compared to Bitcoin's planets. Now, when you look at planets compared to Bitcoin's node, that's a different story. I think it's way less important. I believe that's what I've seen so far. So that's why it's in transparent. You see, the true would be at 9 and the mean would be at 10. So each time there's two transparent, is the true first, then the mean node second. But I place them transparent because I'm not quite sure they're very important. So, but now this column, I will always keep it on from now on because I realize that when it's a strong energy like the one we have now, it's very important. Now, maybe when the node transits faster onto one planet, it may not be as important. I'm convinced of that. But still, I'm going to keep that column from now on until for everything, for all the other coins or all the other studies that I do. So the true node is here. I'm going to go down a little bit. So that's the month of April. May starts here. I haven't looked at the sun, and I haven't even, I could do that quickly, but anyway, no, I'm not going to do that. It's fine. Because we know the sun is going to ingress in Gemini here. I haven't worked on the sun for this the month of May, but it's not very important because I'll tell you why. So this column, like I said, is the true node, okay? The true node, and look at it, okay? Until mid-June, the 18th of June, it's going to be at 22 degrees, which corresponds in Bitcoin's chart would correspond to Neptune, and it's 31 minute, which is here and here. It's very powerful, guys. It's very powerful. And that would explain that in April, during the moon, from the full moon to the new moon, I had said that the slowest planet had stopped making exact transits. And you can see it here. Now, that's Jupiter. Jupiter will start, has started already, making a trine to natal Jupiter in Bitcoin's chart. But, there's a big but. But this true node is at 20 degree, almost 31. It's retrograding here. So it always retrogrades, but it went direct several times. One time here, one time here, it's going to go direct again there. And it's going to be direct exactly at this exact, not only degree, but minute. And I had not looked at it because I've been hiding this column because I thought it was too much work, but it was a mistake. I need to keep that column for sure. So it explains why from the full moon to the new moon, which is typically a rise, even though sometimes it's a small rise, but it's typically always pretty much a rise, it did not rise this time because on the 21st, April 21st, there was no slow planet transits anymore. And this was coming onto the exact minute, and it was already onto the exact degree already pretty much all month long. So now the mean node only started to make that same aspect, because they're very close to each other, but there's a big difference when it comes to details. So the mean node here started on the 5th and will be exact on the 14th. So not only the mean node will be exact on the 14th, but also it will be exact, the true node will be exact on the 6, 7, it was exact, and on the 12, 13, 14, until 19th, it would be exact. So both here, that day, the 14th, both nodes will be exactly squaring Neptune, which is not a good thing at all. Now, that's Venus here, that will be, it's already in Aries, so Venus is not happy in Aries, okay? It will be squaring the Sun at 13 degree Capricorn, and also Mars will be making an aspect with Saturn, which would be, so it's a this is so awful right here, okay? You can see it here. So now I want to show you, so I can go down a bit here. So we know, and if you follow me, I've been saying that forever, so I don't know, people, I mean, whatever. So from the new moon to the full moon here, it's typically a downtrend. That's how it works. That's what Bitcoin has been doing. Of course, it depends how strong, and sometimes it goes further, sometimes less. Like in March, for example, I mean, look at that. I want to show you this, okay? Because that's important here. So I've been spending a lot of time using the ZR here, the zodiacal release that I use when I try to be more precise, because it's a very long process, you guys. You don't even know. It's huge. Like, it takes a lot of work. But anyway, so I've been focusing here, and I told people, I remember telling them that, telling you guys that this here on the 29th, there would be Venus on an exact conjunction with Neptune, which was a very positive aspect. And then Mars will still be making a very nice aspect, but Jupiter would start a square. There was also Saturn starting the same conjunction with Neptune, but Saturn is typically difficult, okay? In any chart, it's difficult. It depends how it's aspected in the natal. It's true, but typically I wouldn't trust a Saturn transit, a Saturn conjunction, especially with Neptune, which represents, among other things, money. So so I remember telling you guys that on the 29th, or I was hesitant between the 29th and 30th, but I was convinced the 29th would be better because the Mercury here, there was a square right here, was making an aspect, and the ZR was showing many passes. It means that it's very complicated. It's not that complicated, but it's difficult to explain. So the ZR can trigger a transit more many times compared to another time period. So you have to know which one is going to, in order to know which transit would be stronger, you have to look at the ZR to see how many triggers it creates. So because Mercury was creating so many triggers before Mars made its aspect to what was it, to Chiron, I think it was a conjunction with Chiron, and also because Chiron is an asteroid, usually typically a little bit more, I mean, a little bit weaker, even though it's fairly strong. But I thought Venus conjunct Neptune would be stronger, and I was correct, and that's what I said. So anyway, and look at that. So on the side, instead of the ZR, I placed the exact Bitcoin's chart. So I just stretched it in order for you to see, but that's the 29th here, right there. See April. So that's March 29th. I don't know if I said April or not, but that was March. And then the dip, right here, especially with Jupiter, but also with here. You see, Jupiter dip, start of Saturn dip, compared to Mercury dip. And I've been saying that Mercury is not that strong in Bitcoin's chart. It's true, and also because it's the fastest planet, but when the ZR triggers that many times, it has to be strong. So because the sign of Gemini and the sign of Virgo were triggered, which are both ruled by Mercury, that's what it created. So I know that this thing that I'm doing is relevant, okay? I wouldn't spend time on it the way I did. It's been a year or so that I really studied this thing, and I do make mistakes. Like for example, this true node, I haven't seen it coming that much. So because I didn't highlighted it, because I didn't even see it, I'll show you my yearly, but in my yearly chart, I use a different ephemeris because it's easier with my program. So it only shows the mean node. So I could compare. I thought it was a good idea this way. At least I would have the mean node in the yearly and the true node in the monthly. Now, so I couldn't see it in the yearly, and I had it hidden under this. So for the true node. So anyway, the true node here, I realized that it's very, very powerful this time around, especially in May. The eclipse is coming as well. The lunar eclipse is coming as well. I didn't think the solar eclipse would be very strong, and I don't think it played a major role because it was at 10 Taurus, and 10 Taurus is typically very nice because it's starting a very nice trine to the sun. So I don't think this one was very strong, but this node is definitely impacting the chart, and that's why I believe from here to here, so from the full moon in April to the new moon, it didn't go up. Plus it stopped here. Uranus, this one stopped. There was no more transits made by the slow planets. So I'll show you the year. So let's look at May quickly. And look at just this. I just saw something here. You see this? Which is the last dip that occurred. Look at the moon. The moon is in Cancer, which I have been saying like since the beginning that the moon in Cancer is not nice. I've seen a rise when the moon was in Cancer because of other planets, only in the second part of the moon in Cancer. So the first part in Cancer to me is always bad. And look at that, boom. But also look at this. I mean, this is awful here because the true node, because the mean node started to aspect Neptune in a trine, in a square. So Jupiter is keeping things up. I mean, it's keeping things. I mean, it's only been going down. It's not compared to Bitcoin's value. Well, I mean, of course it's down, but it's not. It didn't drop like in April or what was it, March 2020. It's not the same kind of dip, but because the eclipse is happening here, the lunar eclipse, it's happening on the 16th of May, and it's going to affect Europe and the US primarily, and it's at 25 Scorpio, which is squaring Aquarius. It's not very nice. It could be worse, but it's not nice. And especially because of that, it's really, this looks very bad. So we are thankful, let's say, for those who are still involved, that Mercury is on top of the moon right now. I mean, not on top, but like sextiling the moon, which is a very nice Mercury return. It's keeping things somehow up, and also Jupiter, okay? Now, this is also beautiful, it's Mars, but here it's coming to really, it becomes a problem here. So 13 was already a problem that I had said that because of these two, but it's definitely a problem on the 14th. And even before, like, look, it starts here, so maybe the 12th. Yes, I think right after this transit, which is Mars-Uranus as a conjunction, it's not going to last very long, but it's Mars, so it's fairly strong. I think it will drop tremendously here, because there's no more Jupiter. I mean, it's a semi-sextile, but it's not too good. Now there's a square starting with Pluto right here, between Jupiter and Pluto, and then this is absolutely nothing. This empty. There's a square here from Venus, so this doesn't look good, okay? And plus, it's going to be the lunar eclipse, so bad, okay? Now, look at June. It will continue, okay? It's not on 31 minutes anymore. Oh, yes, look at it. I didn't even see this one. Look at it. There's another 31 here, right here. And there is another one here. And there is another one. No, that's it. That's it. So two more. They're shorter, but they're bad. Okay, this is not good. So again, that's the mean node, that's the true node, and it will leave the 22nd degree on June 18th. So I haven't studied June here on the monthly yet, but that's what you can see, obviously, okay? So, and remember, if you remember, okay, if you listen to my channel attentively, I had said that March, was a nice month, but then from March, it would start, like the fastest planet would start to create bear, and then slowly the slowest planet also would not be as strong. So to me, it was going down. And I'm going to show you the yearly now. Let me save this. Okay. So that's the yearly. Okay. So the yearly, I want to show you something else that I noticed. So so that's here. This line is today's date. Let me double check. Yeah. So May 8th. Now, we have the moon here. So when there's a double circle, it's the eclipse, okay? I haven't worked on the other eclipses yet, but here is the solar eclipse. Here is the 16th, the lunar eclipse, okay? Now, this time around, it's the mean node, which is shorter, remember? And then the true node, I just added it here because I didn't have but it corresponds. So it's a very long transit that the true node is making, okay? Now the mean node will start making something nice here, which will be nice as well here. But we are heading to the bear, and to me the bear is obviously here. I mean, all the fastest planets are red, and then there's a big red here, which is Uranus. There's another big red, which is the the mean node right here, even though here it's nice, but not here. And look at that. I mean, this is not nice. Now look at when the peak was, because I believe it's going to go down. So the peak was here. To me, well, I could do that later on this year, but I'm confident this is the peak. So so look at the transparent blue and the transparent red, because if I can remove, hold on, let me see if I can just, no, I can't, maybe I can, hold on. If I remove this one, no, forget it. So just look at the blue, the transparent blue. The transparent blue corresponds to something that is simplified. I simplified the chart, and when there is no red for each column, I placed a blue. This way it shows me that, oh, during that period, Venus, because this is Venus, would not make any red. Here, Mars. Remember I said Mars is the most important planet. Look at how it's pumping here, it's peaking here, and it's going back down, okay? And the red starts here and it's continuing. Now, those are only the transits. All the secondary progressions and tertiary, I strongly believe tertiaries are involved as well, they are a complete different calculation, and they do count. I noticed them several times. I know they count. But now I haven't placed them here. I placed them in the monthly, and there's none. The last one was on the 2nd and 3rd of May, and I believe it impacted the chart around the 4th. I believe the 4th went up a little. So, so even though that's Saturn, so even though I remember, well, I'm not going to talk about that again. You know, that's where was the 29th. So the new moon was a little bit later that time, but the peak was a little bit earlier, I remember. Now, if you guys want to plan for the bottom, I would not, I would not invest here, even though it's going to go down with this, with the nodes, I strongly believe, and with this. I would not, because who says that it's going to pump back up here? I don't think so. I mean, maybe it will. Maybe it could be, yeah. I mean, this Venus and Mars will create something here too, but it's not, I wouldn't risk it. So the sun will be red, Mercury will be a bit green here too. That's typically when it goes up. Yeah, it may, after, you know, after this, but who knows? No, I wouldn't touch it. So I would wait. And I would wait here until here, somewhere around, but I'm not gonna study that now. Because I know there's a secondary progression, there's a tertiary progression in August that is huge, people. It's like Pluto conjunct Pluto in tertiary progression. It's gonna last like half a month or something like that. Typically, tertiary progressions do not last long, but in tertiary progressions, we look at the slowest planet. This way, it's more impactful. In secondary progression, we could look at the moon, we could look at all the planets. They're all important. But in tertiary, the slowest planet are the most important, and Pluto being super slow, it's going to impact tremendously the chart in August. But I'll talk about that later. So that's what I have for you today. That's it.